So, hello peoples. I think I will start now. Welcome. Today I will talk about JavaScript architectures. It's called the foundations. So the main goal of this talk, I think, will be to present some good practice. I don't know, to introduce you to JavaScript modules, because many people are using modules in JavaScript, but not especially in the good way, or they simply don't know what they are exactly doing. So I think this is a good point to start. In order to architecture your codes, you need to understand what is modules and what is the main goal of a modules. I don't know. So let's start. I have an empty directory right here with nothing inside. And I will create an application, a very simple one, with a HTML file and a little server that will bring us some JSON data. And the goal of this live coding session will be to introduce you to modules from a point A to a point Z. So it means we will see how a module works from the beginning. The first part will be about little introduction, why we need modules. The third part will be more workshop introduction, like let's try to create a module by hand. And we will see also CommonJS, Browserify, and some tools to bring modules in your project. And finally, I will present some practice to organize your modules code, and of course, some ECMA 2015's way to create modules with the import and export. So let's start. First of all, when we are starting a JavaScript project, we need a package.json that will allow us to install libraries and many things like this. So to do that, you need the NPM, which is the package manager of JavaScript, of Node.js, and of course, you need Node.js. So let's start with npm init. This command will ask you a few questions, and create package.json in your project. So we can see here a package.json. So once we have a package.json in the project, you just have to open your favorite editor. So for me, it's Vim, and create, I don't know, I will start with an index.html, I think. So this is my basic HTML file. So let's start with a little issue that you will probably encounter in many JavaScript applications. Let's start with a form that contains, I don't know, a text input with an autocomplete things, right? So let's try to code an autocomplete modules for JavaScript. So here I need a basic form node, a text input, and a simple div for the autocomplete result. So we will put all the DOM text nodes of the autocomplete inside the div. So that's all we need. So let's try it. Let's begin with a JavaScript. So we will see the first way of coding JavaScript. The first way that exists is a simple script tag like this. And you can put your JavaScript here. This is not really cute, and this is not really maintainable also, because if you have a big app which deserve many HTML files with templates, I don't know, you will have script everywhere, and it's very difficult to maintain, and etc. So I think everybody agrees that JavaScript should be in a separate file. So let's create a separate file. So I say to my browser, okay, I have a script file named libautocomplete.js, and inside I will put my code. That's all. So let's start. I think everybody knows how the DOM is working with the document ready and things like this. Here, I don't need a document ready because the script is at the end of the HTML file. So I will just pass this kind of parts, and I will code it like, I don't know, like a dirty man. So let's code it like a dirty man. So this is a basic script. I get my input and I say, okay, let's do a key up and let's see what happens. And of course, I need also my div. Like this. So here I just have one input and one div, so this is very simple, but in the real life, you may be using jQuery or things like this, with a document ready, of course. And so that's it. Let's see what happens when I just bring the file index.html in my browser. Let's see what we have. So I made a mistake. Input add event listener is not a function. So let me Google it. Okay, so we have inputs, but we have an array of inputs. My bad. That's it. So let's try. We got the keyboard event right here. Okay, so each time I do a key up, we see the keyboard event. Okay, that's it. Now I have something working like this, you see? And I need to do some autocomplete things. I have my text, and let's try to do some basic autocomplete. So in order to do that, I need to maybe to have some propositions, create propositions. So this is my propositions, and I need to search on it. So let's do it. So I think this algorithm should work. Let's try. Oh, my bad. This is not working. I'm doing wrong. This is the test text. Sorry. Yeah, this is working. So we can see here the propositions. Now we need to refresh the DOM. So to refresh the div, to add nodes inside. So let's do it. First of all, we need to clear the div DOM. So result node. I'm not sure of myself, so let's try this one. No, this is not working. Append child and DOM text node. Create text node. Not really my kind of things. It's in a text. It's text content. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so let's try this code. Result node append child is not a function. Maybe It's because I need the 0. We have it. But it's not clear. This should normally clear. This should work, but I did a typo. So this is working well. You can see we have all the results and etc. So I will stop here, and because I don't have time to do the click and things like this, I think the main point is just to do a basic feature. So that's all. And as you can see, this kind of codes is not very cute. We have a first problem. It's if our application is growing up, this will never work. For example, if you have many pages and this script is, I don't know, in somehow import inside, it will never work. And we will have many mistakes, many errors inside. So this script is, first of all, does not work each time. It's deeply coupled to our HTML. So this is the first problem we have. Second problem is here, for example, my propositions, as you can see. Well, it's accessible from everywhere. So it means any kind of script can modify my propositions and everything like this. This can be a good thing, but this can be very dangerous if you are creating a complex app. So everything can communicate between them. It's quite complicated. And other things we can see here that is not very awesome is, of course, the DOM, but this is not the main point here. It's more something like, okay, we have the key up event, this is working, but if we add other event listener on elements and things like this, things become complicated very more with many indentation and things like this. So this is not the ideal things when you're coding JavaScript. So we will try to organize this code to make it looks better. And for this, in JavaScript, we have the module patterns that actually exist. So when you are coding a library in JavaScript, you have many ways to format and do your codes. The first way is this one, like we can see here. It's called the globals. So it means every var, every functions, everything you define in your script will be always accessible to the other. And in order to limit the scope, in order to make your var private and some other var publics and things like this, we need the modules. So I will just create another script. I will call it modules.js, just in order to show you how this should work. So let's go. So let's start. Let's see something. In order to understand modules, you need to understand a keyword that is called this in JavaScript. So we just do this. Refresh. And as you can see, this keyword called this is actually the window object. So it's the entire JavaScript browser world. You have everything inside, right? And once you have your this, you can see that any kind of variables or any kind of function like this, will be defined in your window, in the this. So if I type window XX, I will see my 23, and window test, I will see my function. And it's the same thing as this XX, and this test, of course. So everything is defined in your this. So we need to find a way to create an empty this by script. So we can choose what will be export and what will not be export. So we can do a little things to understand this kind of thing. So I will create a variable that is the result of test. As you can see, test should return something like null or undefined, I don't know. And B is the result of a new test. And each time test is called, I will log the this inside the test function. So let's do it. So first of all, the test here will console log the this. As you can see, the first log is the window. So everything goes as expected. But in the second time, when we call b equal new test, we have something a bit strange for this. It's an empty function test. So concretely, this means you have your current object instance, and basically the this represent the window. But if you use the new keyword, for example, this will create an empty this. All right. So let's try to create a module like this. So this is my module. The first thing we can do is to try to create a new function of something. So we can do maybe something like this. So we can create var inside, test, and we can use the this do test, something like this, and finally let's do something like this. I have a variable called myModule function, which is a function which use var test equal test, and we'll use also the this and put inside the do test. And I create a myModule, which is a new myModule function. So let's try it. Here I should see myModule, and inside I should have my do test, but I don't have my variable test. This is a private stuff. All right, this is exactly what we need. So in order to do some private things, you can use the keyword var or let if you are using ECMA 2015. Or in order to export things to make it public, you can directly use the this. So it looks like this, do test, and it prints the correct things. Hey, I'm test. So this is how module basically is working, but here we have a little trouble. This one is also defined globally. I mean, we can get the function here, and this is not what we want. We want it to make it private. my module exists just once time. I can create modules each time I want. So let's do it by wrapping the function just right there. So we need parentheses here, and we just need a new. And we can put this one here. Let's try it. Okay, we do have my module. Why do I have my module function? Okay, my module function is not defined here. And my module is defined. It's an object with inside a do test. It's exactly what we want. So this is the module pattern, right? This is how we are coding modules. But this is also suffering of another things. Let's try to use jQuery, for example. And you say, okay, my module here will maybe use, I don't know, we'll have a div. And inside I will do something like div, I don't know, thing like this. So here you are using the jQuery library inside your module. And in JavaScript, as you may know, there are many different libraries. So it means you don't have a way to control which library is using by which module. And this is a bit of problematics because a module should be independent. It means a module should have all the dependency written inside. And in order to do some clean code, you will have to precise all the dependency of your module. So we have a way to do this. We can create new vscope, like this kind of thing, differently. I will show you maybe in the console right here. Let's try a function test again. Let's console log the this again. Okay, this is my function test. If I do test here, I have the window. And now I will use a method of all the function called apply. And here I will precise an object, an empty object, like this. And as you may know, the this changed. It's an empty object, right? So any function have this apply, and this apply take two arguments. The first one is what this do you want in your function? Oh, sorry. What this do you want in the function? This is the first argument. And the second one, here I don't have it. It's an array of all the function arguments. For example, AB, if you have AB argument in test. So this can be very interesting for us to inject dependencies. So for example, here, I can precise, okay, this is my function. I will apply it with an empty object. Oh, sorry. Like this. And in second arguments, I will put all the dependencies. So for example, here, I will put my jQuery. Like this. And I will resave it here. And I'm done. So let's try. This code should not work, of course. It really is not defined. So this has two main points. It means if you import modules and a dependency is not defined, you will know it directly, like we can see here. This is not defined. You don't know exactly what to inject. So the browser is telling us, oh no, I can't do this. So this is the main point of injection. You will have a traceability of all the dependencies. So that's all. We have seen how to create a module by end. So it means a module from point A to point Z just with JavaScript, raw JavaScript. So So let's transform the autocomplete as this kind of module. So let's do it. Okay. I need an autocomplete module, which is a function. And I will apply it this. Okay, so this is my module autocomplete. It takes no dependencies. Well, indeed, it does have some dependencies. The document is a dependencies of this module. So if you are running JavaScript in different environments, I mean, if you want to create scalable application with JavaScript, which can be running in the browser, which can be running maybe on a TV, which can be running on any kind of platform that JavaScript can have. Actually, we have Node.js, for example, which run JavaScript inside the console. We have also Unity game engine, which use JavaScript to code video games. So I don't know, for some reason, you want to make your JavaScript very scalable, you can directly inject the doc too. And here, cut document, like this. Let's refresh. Oh, jQuery is not defined because my module, oh, I will erase it. I don't need it. Okay, and now nothing happens. It's totally normal. Here we are creating a module called autocomplete, but this module is never called. And this is the main point of module. A module defines codes, and these codes can be used anytime you want. Okay, so this kind of module here. Oh, my bad, it should be applied. My bad. Okay, my bad. This module is applied. So this is a basic way of coding modules. And this allows us to do some kind of private stuff. So it means autocomplete will never share things like input, result node, propositions, and the event listener function. I don't know. This is not shared in the module. So this is exactly what we want, private stuff. And also another advantage is the inversion of control. So it means a module can define its own dependencies like this, very easily. So this is a good way of coding module in a browser. But in JavaScript world, there are plenty way of coding module. I will show you one of the most popular one. It's been popularized by Node.js, and it's called CommonJS module. And this is quite simple to understand. Let's try to switch the propositions here. Let's try to create an HTTP applications that will send us some JSON, okay, with the proposition inside. So I need here, inside my lib, some script which will be executed with Node.js. So let's do it. So I have a script called servepropositions.js. And just in order to show you how JavaScript can be portable, how the portability of JavaScript, I will just do a console log this right here. And I'll just execute the script, lib server. And as you can see, in Node.js, the this is empty, like this. it's an empty object. So it's not the same thing as the this in the browser, which is a window, basically. In Node.js, the this is empty. So let's try to create an HTTP server, and for this, we will need some modules that Node.js bring for us. And in order to import modules in Node.js, we are using the require. So for example, I need the HTTP module, which can be required like this. So this is command.js. Command.js allows us in a script to require other modules and of course resolve it inside your current directory or thing like this. So let's create a server. Let's do something like well, something like this, and send the response. Once the server is done, we just launch it on the 1990 port, for example. So this is basic server. Let's run it. Okay, this should be run the server. Let's go in our one. 19. Oh yeah, stringify, a typo. Oh my god. It's done. I have some JSON inside my browser. This is working. My proposal is working. So this is how we do stuff in Node.js. We use the require, and if we have another script, for example, let's put this proposition, this array of propositions in another module. So let's do this. Propositions. Create the var for the propositions. Like this. So here we have some propositions. So let's try to require this proposition in our script, in our server. So proposition equal require propositions. So don't forget this thing here to precise that you are working on the same directory as the current script. And let's try to launch it. So let's go. I will just do a console log, maybe of propositions. Okay. Here we can see that our propositions are empty because basically Node.js is working like the same thing as our function here. So this means that everything is private in a Node.js module, in a Node.js script. So you can easily make it public with this. Do it again. Okay, I have my propositions. So right there, here, let's put the propositions. Let's try again. It's working like a charm. So this is the command.js pattern. Of course, this is actually working on Node.js, but you can make it work also on the browser with Browserify. Let me show you. It's like a library that you can use with Node.js, like this. You can create your main JavaScript file like you want. You can install library directly with npm, for example, npm install jQuery, and do inside a require jQuery, and you can use it in your script directly. Once this is done, you just have to do browserify your main file.js and output them inside bundle.js and include the bundle in your HTML. This is very simple and this is working very nicely. So I encourage you to use Browserify if you are interested in command.js. So we have seen why using module, how to create module in a browser. So we can do some kind of dependency injection. We can do some kind of private and public exploitation stuff. Oh, this is the modules pattern. We have understand how it works. And now I will show you a better way to do these kind of things in the DOM. So this part is a bit short, but I will show you how to enhance your architectures with modules inside a browser. So let's take an example. I told you before that this JavaScript file is missing one big part. Is first of all the DOM ready, because we can include this script anywhere, and if the DOM is not ready, we will have some kind of big trouble. And the second thing is maybe in some HTML file, we can include this script, but the input is not present, for example, or it's not the right input. You see? Can be something like, no, I have the wrong input. So many libraries exist today to present the pattern I will show you right now. So let's try to think about the solutions for this kind of thing. In most of JavaScript recent projects, of browser recent projects, we used a simple pattern to launch and enable modules. So you have your HTML file, and inside you will precise that something like, okay, I don't know how, I don't know when, but this HTML page will launch modules. And for example, here, I want to launch the module called autocomplete. Right? I want to initialize it. So now we have these data modules. We need some kind of a main script that will take all the data modules inside and launch it one by one. This is a very simple pattern that allows you to be scalable in all your HTML pages. So let's try something like, okay, I have my autocomplete. I need a main script. So I will just rename the module 1. Okay, this script will be launched on document ready. So document ready function. Let's use some kind of ECMA6 syntax. So this will be launched on document ready. Now we need to get the attributes called data modules of the HTML tag. So let's give the HTML tag. I have something like get attributes. Okay, this is the data set. Let's log it. What we have is nothing. This document ready is not the good syntax. Let me check. Okay, no jQuery, no. The old-fashioned way. Not this one. Yeah, unfunctioned load should be fine. Let's do it. Okay, so let's try again. Okay, we have our autocomplete. And what about many modules? This is very simple. Let's try something like a module foo and a module base. Just separate it with, I don't know, this kind of character, but it can be any kind of characters you want. And inside of our main.js, we just need to split it like this. Do it again. We just have autocomplete, foo, and base. And now we just have to launch them. So something like this. Try something like window or this. It's the same thing. And that's all. So let's try. Okay, we have a trouble. This at module is not a function. So let's console log the module. Yeah, autocomplete is not a function. So what happens? Here, we have our module, but it's very simple. If I debug autocomplete, I see this is undefined. Because this is not a function. The result of this is nothing. I can return, for example, 10. Complete we will 10, and etc. So as you can see here, this will never return things. So it means that the autocomplete variable is not a function. So we need to wrap it again in a function. And maybe we can do stuff like this. Let's use something like this. And that's all. So let's try something like this. Okay, autocomplete looks like working, but of course, foo is not working. because foo is not defined as a module yet, and etc. So that's all. This is a simple way to control the modules calls in JavaScript, the browser, without any kind of library. This is very simple to put it in place. You just have to have some script like this. After some module, which return, do not forget to return the function, because this will be called by the main.js. And that's all. You are free to organize your application in JavaScript without any kind of libraries. But this is not the most optimized things. Of course, we have many frameworks today and many libraries in JavaScript that allow us to be much, much more efficient than this. This is completely true, but I hope that you will understand better what a module pattern is in JavaScript and how to make it works correctly. So do not forget to inject dependencies here, for example. Do not forget to making stuff private and stuff public, right? Even if you are using, I don't know, Angular or React or any kind of framework, these kind of patterns can still use you. It can use you in the everyday life. Okay, so this is a basic introduction of modules. And in order to finish it, I will show you what kind of modules the future will bring, because actually many of ECMA 2015 standard are implementing in the browser, but there is still one feature that is not yet ready, is the import and export. So it means, let's take this kind of thing. It works quite the same thing as the require and module export. In ECMA, in the future of ECMA, you will have something like import HTTP from HTTP and import propositions from propositions. That's it. This is not working actually, but this will be the future syntax. And to be more precise, it will be something like this. I will show you why. Okay, and inside propositions, you will just have to do okay, this script will export an object with propositions inside. That's all. And so here you can use the import. Of course, a module can import many things, export, sorry, many things. So here you will have X and T, for example. Oh, sorry. X. And of course, if you put T here, this is not working because T is defined in our propositions module, but never exports. That's all. And in order to finish, you can choose what to export by default. So let's take something like and say export by default foo. So what does this mean? This means import foo from proposition. You don't have to use braces like this with the default. That's all. So this is the new shape of modules in ECMA. You can use it today, but you will need to install some kind of new things. So the tools that I can show you in order to finish is, for me, I like Browserify, which is a good tool, but of course, this is going to die because ECMA modules is coming very quickly. And in order to use the ECMA modules in your project, you will have to install a library called system.js. That's it. So I'll let you take a look on how it works. So this library allows you to use a transpiler like Tracer, Babel, or even TypeScript to directly code in ECMA 6. So you can use import, export, and if you are using TypeScript, for example, you can use typed variables and many things like this. So this is how works System.js, and System.js brings its own package manager like NPM, but just for System.js, this package manager. This is very, very useful. It means that you just have to do gspm install jQuery, and you can do an import jQuery from jQuery. That's all, over. So this is very, very interesting. I'll let you take a look on those projects, maybe to Tracer or Babel, or even try TypeScript if you are interested on. This is really the future, and every kind of library can be used with this import and export formats. It's quite simple to put in place, even in Node.js, even other kind of things. So that's all for these JavaScript architectures. I hope this was a clear presentation for you. So do not hesitate to let me some comments, maybe in the Google Plus event page. I don't know. And that's all. So thanks to you all. And just to finish, maybe I can give you, I can give my Twitter account. It's I don't remember my Twitter account. Okay. So this is this one. So if you have any question, do not hesitate to contact me. And I hope you enjoyed this little live coding session. It was very, very basic stuff, but again, still really, really useful to know in old JavaScript projects. So that's all. Have a nice day. See you.